So again, I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's Team Dynasty call, and thank you for joining me. I have had the opportunity to share my story per Scotty with all of you, so I'm excited to share a little bit about me, and hopefully it'll help you, with your story. I'm here tonight to share my story, and hopefully it'll help inspire you and share some tips, with all of you for pushing through this holiday season, or what I call failing forward. So let's go ahead and start. So I want to start off by introducing, this gentleman to you guys. His name is Bo Eason. I'm not sure if many of you have heard of him or know who he is, but if you get a chance to Google him or find him on YouTube, I highly advise you to do it. He's a great speaker and very, very good at what he does. So basically who Bo Eason is he was an NFL player who turned into a playwright. And what he did was he wrote a one-man play called Runt of the Litter. And what that is it's a semi-autobiographical account of his life and career as a safety for the Houston Oilers back in the 1980s. So what Bo Eason does now is that he teaches and helps others with this story, developing their story, and he shares his messages about the power of being able to tell your story personally. So I want to share with you his message and how it's helped me shape my own story. And I want to start off by reading this quote that I put on here from Bo. And he says, "People always say to me, 'You have a better story than me.' Not true. That's a cop-out. The only difference between my story and your story is I love my story more than you love yours. No story is better than another. Your story, that which makes you who you are, is as intriguing and interesting as anyone else's. Play your position, not anyone else's." And I want to share this with you because to me it was very, very powerful when I first heard him speak and heard him talk. And the reason is because this was basically me, the one saying this, that when I first started out as a coach, I really didn't have a huge, or so I thought, like a big, significant story to share with people. I did lose some weight, but it wasn't like a significant, huge amount of weight loss. Some of like the weight loss success stories that you guys have seen on Beachbody, nor did I come from like a bad upbringing or background. So in my mind, I didn't really believe that I had this huge significant story. So when I first started out as a coach, I would just kind of basically share about how I became a coach and what I did from there. And that was pretty much the end of it. And the reason why I want to make this point very clear is because I know that there are others out there who struggle with this a lot. For me, no matter how many times, I listen to the Bombshell Dynasty calls or the Team Dynasty call or even, the National Wake Up calls on Monday and listen to successful coaches share their story and share tips about how they formulated their own story, it really never resonated with me until I heard Bo Eason speak and about his sentence where he says, "The only difference between my story and your story is that I love my story more than you love yours." And so I got to thinking that, man, it's really not that my story sucks, it's that I suck, So I just needed to dig a little bit deeper and delve into my past and just share that more with people. So this is what I'm going to share with you tonight, my story. And so hopefully it'll help inspire you, shape yours. Again, this is me, my transformation picture on the right here. You can see here in 2010, that's when I started out with Beachbody. I just did the workout programs. I started out with P90X and then moved on to Insanity. And that's me in 2014 now. That picture I took back in April and May before we moved back to the States. So a little bit about me so you guys know who I am and now. But basically, I'm a mom of 2 girls. I am a military spouse. I also work full-time from home. Beachbody is my full-time job. This is what I do. Thanks, Jenny. And I love it. It's what I'm passionate about, and I love being able to help other people, and I love the fact that I get to be at home with my family and my girls. Another thing about me is that I love to cook, and not just cook, but experiment with healthy cooking. And for those who know me, I love to test out my concoctions on people and to see what they think. So if you're ever in the area, hook me up or look me up. I also love to work out now, but when I first started, geez, I hated working out. It was like a pain to work out. But now it's come to the point where, I love to work out because it makes me feel better. It's the way I feel. It's not just about the aesthetic looks, but, how it affects me more than just a physicality thing, but how I act, how I feel, and how I treat other people. So for me, it's not a good day until I work out. I'm also like a family gal and I'm a homebody, so I'd rather be at home, stuck, in my house with my kids, my family, snuggle up on the couch watching a movie than out and about. And I'm also very old-fashioned in a lot of ways. That's kind of how I was raised, with the old-fashioned mentality of, you respect your elders. The guy opened the doors for the girl, and I do stuff for my husband, and my husband does stuff for me. But it's because we do it because we want to, not because we have to. And for me, I'm also I'm the cheapest date you'll ever find. If you ask my husband, he will tell you that I am a cheap date. Buy me chocolate, buy me flowers. They don't even have to be expensive flowers, just cheap flowers, and send me to the movie, and I'm happy as can be. So for me, what I struggled with the most during my transformation was losing weight in my abdomen or the stomach area, because for me, I'm short. I am 5 feet exactly, and I am not genetically blessed. So for those who are, man, I envy you. But for me, it's so easy for me to lose weight, but very hard for me to lose fat. And it's easy for me to gain and lose weight, but hard for me to lose as far as fat goes. So I struggled a lot with fat. As you can see, I've come a long ways, and I'm still not exactly what I want to be, but I'm working on it. And that's where I connect most with people and other women and other moms, because I know there are people out there who are just like that, who get me and I get them, So I share that a lot with people. So in a nutshell, that's basically me. And so now what I want to do is share with you about how I became a coach. So I joined as a coach in 2012 of August. So it's been about 2 years now. And when I signed up as a coach, I didn't actually sign up as a coach at first. It was my husband who signed up as a coach. And he actually signed up as a coach because of, you all know about the military discount where Beachbody, waives the coaching fee for active duty military members and their spouses. So I was drinking Shakeology. I was doing all the workouts. So my husband decided to sign up as a coach so that way we can save the 25% on the products I was buying anyways, save some money. So out of the blue, I can't even remember when, but it was either via email or Facebook that him and Scotty kind of met somehow. And at the time they met was the time where, for me, I was in a transition period where I was at a government job. My husband and I were stationed overseas in Germany, and I was, a regular 9-to-5 job. It was a great job, but I was at the point to where I was just stressed out. I was tired of doing the 9-to-5 thing, and where I was working, we were losing people left and right. Jobs were getting cut and positions weren't getting filled. So I was working longer and longer hours, but not getting any extra incentive and still getting paid the same. And also at the time, I really wanted to find a way to be able to stay home with my 2 girls, because ever since my husband met and got married, I have always been working full time, and I never had that opportunity to just be at home and be with my girls. So I was looking for a way out somehow. So lo and behold, that's kind of how my husband and Scotty met. And they started talking, and that's when my husband approached me with the coaching opportunity. And, he said, hey, you know what? Check this guy out. He's a coach, and he's basically helping other people, and kind of like what you're doing. You're already doing the workout programs, Shrink Shakeology, and you love it. Why don't you talk to Scotty? You could probably do this. This might be your way out. And I kind of really blew him off, because I was like, no, there's no way I can become a coach or do what those coaches do. It's probably a pyramid scheme. It's probably a scam, and I want something solid to where I know how much I'm making every week or every month. That's not for me. So about 3 or 4 months go by, and him and Scotty are still talking, and I'm still looking for a way out here. So my husband keeps nagging me, and I'm like, okay, So as a way to kind of shut him up, I finally decided, okay, you know what? Let me set a date with Scotty. Let me, talk to him over the phone and find out what this is all about, so I can decide for myself if it's something I want to do or not. So that's what we did. And long story short, we talked, and the next day, after Scotty shared with me about his story, what he's been through, and everything from where he's come from and what he's worked to get to where he's at, it inspired me so much that the next day, that's when I signed up as a coach. So 3 months into me coaching, what I did was, I didn't do what most people did. I kind of took a leap of faith where I really jumped in head first, feet first, whatever you call it. I basically jumped off the bridge and decided that this is what I want to do, that I was going to make this work no matter what. So, I gave my 3 months notice to my job, and it was around, I think, like I said, August. And so I told them that come January, I was going to quit, and they better find somebody to replace me, like it or not. That was it. So in a way, I'm glad that I took that plunge, because that's what worked for me, because I didn't have that crutch of my job being there, that security blanket or something soft in case I did fall. And that really pushed me out there, out of my comfort zone to, make Beachbody coaching work for me. So, if you're stuck in that area, do it, take that leap of faith, because I was in that situation where it was sink or swim, and I was not going back. So I had to make sure that this was going to work for me no matter what. And so the more I started helping people and watching other successful coaches do the same thing, like Scotty, like Lindsay, and just listening to the national wake-up calls, I saw that they were helping people at the same time that they were achieving success and achieving financial freedom. So I saw that, hey, if they can do it, and I'm just like them, and they're just like me, why can't this be me? So, after watching for a while, I knew that this path it can, and it will offer me the same financial freedom that's offered so many other successful coaches. So digging deeper a little bit into my story, this is the part where I want to share with you guys, because, like I said, I told you, I didn't feel like I had a huge, great weight loss success story to share with people. But, and I also didn't come from like a horrible background. Like, my parents didn't drink, they didn't do drugs. I was, I had a good upbringing. Only one thing about my parents was that they were very traditional parents, so they were very, very strict. And not only that, but I grew up with 6 sisters and 3 brothers, so that was 10 kids total, and I'm the oldest. So if you can only imagine trying to raise 2, 3 kids, let alone 1, just imagine trying to raise 10 kids. So money was like really, really tight for us growing up. And because of that, and because of where my parents came from, they always stressed education. education always came first. You know, you had to go to school. That was the number one priority for us. They pushed education, especially for me because I was the oldest. It was like I had to set the example and the standards for all my brothers and sisters. So they really pushed that on us. And I hate to say this, but like in our culture, you know, being a girl, we're kind of put in the back burner, and they put like the boys up on a pedestal. So for me, I remember from earliest childhood moments, I remember learning how to cook, how to clean, and you know, be in the kitchen. And basically that's what I was taught. That's what I was told to do. That was my job. And go to school and see my friends that they're doing this thing, like, you know, heck no, that's not what I wanted to do. So the only way for me growing up to be able to get out of the house was that it had to have something to do with school. So I can remember volunteering for like every and any extracurricular school activities that I could get my hands on. That didn't cost too much money. So that way I could get out of the house. That was the only way my parents would let me out of the house if it had to do with school. And the only way that I was able to go to like school dances was that I had to volunteer to be on the dance committee, you know, so that was the only way I could go. So, like I said, growing up, we didn't have much, but I really didn't know what that all meant until I hit junior high. And if you guys remember, you know, going to school, when you guys would get those permission slips where, you know, at the bottom you have your parents sign, and a lot of times, or sometimes they'll have that form in there. Ooh, thought I lost you guys for a second. Okay. Where your parents would have to sign the signature and put in their phone number or occupation or if they worked. Well, for me, a lot of time that area was left blank. So I never asked questions or never thought much of it until I hit junior high. And that was kind of when I found out the reason why it was left blank all the time was because, you know, my parents never worked. Like, my mom and dad was always home. They were always home with us, and they didn't work. So basically what we did was we lived on government care and, like, welfare. So when I found that out, it came as a huge shock to me and a huge, huge surprise. And I was really, really, like, embarrassed to share that with my friends and anybody that I knew because, like I said, growing up, since my parents pushed school on us so much, I was like a straight A student, and there was no way I was going to share that with anybody. You know, it was a total embarrassment, and for the longest time, you will never believe it, but I never told anybody. And even, you know, like all my siblings, we all knew that after a while, but it was like unspoken within the household. And even up till now, after marrying my husband, that was something I never told him growing up. That was how we survived. My parents never worked because it was still embarrassing. It's only up until recently that I really started, you know, looking back at my upbringing and kind of pinpointing, you know, why I work so hard to do what I do, why I'm so passionate with coaching, and why I continue to do what I do is because of, you know, my background. And now that I do have kids, I don't want them to go through the same thing that basically, you know, I had to go through. I want to be able to provide things for my kids and that I didn't have as a kid growing up. And I don't want my kids to have to make decisions based on like circumstances, but to just be able to do what they can and to offer them, you know, opportunities that I didn't get as a kid. So that's really what I want to share with all of you. So what I want to drive home is that if you can't tell your story, you know, they will tell it for you. If you are not so passionate about your story and have the unwavering belief that it's going to help someone out there, you know, who's going to tell it for you? And if somebody else tells it for you, you know they're not going to tell it the way you tell it. You know, most of us don't think that our stories are dramatic enough, but to quote what Bo said, or Bo says, you know, to live in this world and to be alive is dramatic beyond belief. We just need to train ourselves to have the courage and absolute resolve and belief in our stories that it can change someone's life. So, share your story so deeply, so passionately, and so proudly. Who cares what other people think? Those who connect with you will connect with you, and those who don't, they will move along. Those who connect with you will find themselves inside your story. And the things we think that people don't want to hear are the source of our greatest power. So how does this sharing your story all tie into, the holiday season and failing forward through the holidays? Well, basically, it's to, like I said, to share your story and be you. Be honest, be truthful, share your ups and downs, share what you're going through, especially if you're struggling. Just be you, share your bumps, your scars, and bruises. As human beings, we are always trying to broadcast our clean side. Our scuffed and scarred humanity is where our goals reside. That's so true because people don't connect with you because you are perfect. They connect with you because you are imperfect. So we're headed up into this season where it's one of the toughest seasons of the year. Everyone wants to enjoy themselves. No one wants to think about losing weight. And there's so much good food to enjoy, and people get into this scarcity mindset that if they don't eat it now or enjoy the things now, they're not going to get to enjoy it until the next year come around. And what's worse is that sometimes people even kind of throw caution to the wind and forego everything and just say, oh, to hell with it. I'm going to work off all the weight gain, all this food that I eat after the holidays is over, and some of you may be thinking the same thing. I know that because I think the same thing as well. For me, the holiday season is very hard, because I love to enjoy it as well, just like anybody else's. But, this is where if you're struggling during the holiday season and you stumble or you say you're going to work out and you miss that workout, you share it online via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, but you share with people what you're struggling with because that way they see your human side and they can connect better with you. Also, share with other people what you are doing this season to keep yourself accountable, motivated, and inspired, whether that's your challenge group or, just showing people that, yes, you may not have ate healthy today, but tomorrow you're going to get up and, make a better day. And lastly, no matter what happens this holiday season, even if you eat the whole turkey and everything on that Thanksgiving dinner table and that whole ham come Christmas, I don't care. Keep going no matter what. That's what you're here as a coach to do, to show people that no matter what happens, you're going to get up the next day. You get hit 7 times, you get up that 8th time, and you keep going no matter what. And so that leads me into my next slide, why you want to share with other people, your struggles and what you're doing this holiday season is because you want to set yourself up for success come January 2015. So now, I know last year, Lindsay did a webinar around the end of November, December about, setting yourself up for success come January and to help people. I don't know if she's going to do one again this year, but if she does, make sure you get on that call because it's a great one. And she shares all her tips of success, what she's done in the past. So get on there if she does have one this year. But basically, you want to be sharing everything that you're doing, even if you don't sell any challenge packs, even if nobody joins your challenge groups. The reason is because you want to plant the seed in people's minds now for when January comes. You want to make sure that you're present in people's thoughts because the time to help people when January comes is now. When you wait until January comes, it's going to be way too late because come January, when those people are done with holiday season and they're ready to, start their New Year's resolution and they want to lose so many X amount of weight, they're already going to have a plan of what they want to do. And when that time comes, it's going to be too late for you to get your foot in the door. So you want to start now to plant the seed. So that way, when January comes and they're looking for ways to, lose weight, you will pop up in their mind. So now to tie this all back to your story and sharing your failures and your wounds, your scars, these are 3 points that I want to leave you with. The more personal you tell your story, the more universal it becomes and the more it connects with others. You have to physicalize, embody your story, and know it so well like the back of your hand, and be passionate about it, be enthusiastic about it when you share with other people. And lastly, generosity equals money. Your bottom line is directly proportional to how much you give in your arena. And we see this all over the place, on our team, where whoever is the best in the field gives the most of themselves. And I speak highly of like Scotty Hobbs and Lindsay Manway because you see how much they give themselves. That's why they're so successful. And the more you give, the more you get paid, and the more influence you have. And I've always remembered, when I first signed up, what Scotty and Lindsay says about how much money you make as a coach. That's going to be a direct reflection of the number of lives that you have helped change. So, lastly, if I've got to talk to you into your greatness, that is the crime of our time by Bo Eason. So if me or if Scotty, if your direct upline coach has to talk you into greatness, that all lies upon you. You are already great. You just have to, own it and be you and share you, your struggles, all your ups and all your downs. That's all it boils down to. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's basically all that I have for you. I hope that in some way, shape, or form or another that it's helped you and inspire you a little bit, and that it's helped you in some way. If you guys don't have any questions for me, like I said, I'm excited that I got to share, a little bit of me with all of you tonight. So if you guys don't have anything else for me, oh, thank you, everybody. It was great to be on this call and have this opportunity to talk to you guys. Miss you too, Natasha. I see Adrian and Lori. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this session and put up the recording for those who've missed it. So everybody have a good night, and we shall see all of you next week on next week's Team Dynasty Call.